Hey peoples, and welcome to the next Zenith update. I guess the Christmas update. So we'll just cut straight to the chase, and I'm sure the answer to this question is what you're dying to know: where the fuck is the Silent Hill Requiem physical editions? Well, the simple answer is they're still in development, and yeah, I know it's pissing me off too. This project should have been done. These DVDs and Blu-rays should be in my hand, but they're not. So why is that? Well, I'm going to show you firsthand. Yeah, I think that's just the best way to do it. So I might as well say this now. Spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't watched Silent Hill Requiem yet, because I'm going to be showing you it in its edited form, so you may see shots that you didn't want to see until you watched the film. So if you hadn't had a chance to watch the film, then maybe just listen, don't watch. I don't know, whatever. But here we go. So here's the film, and it's roughly just shy of 2,000 shots. So what I've been doing is I've been cleaning the film up. I've been going back into it, and as I mentioned in the last update, based on fan feedback about the use of the old film filter, I have been changing the film to kind of correspond to that feedback. I haven't removed it from every shot. What I've done is I've left it on shots where Silent Hill attacks, shall we say. So it's like the film filter is being affected by the power of Silent Hill in a way. Very much like in the games where the digital noise appears more intensely during sort of like more intense moments. I'm using that same idea here, but rather than it being digital noise, this is more like it's affecting like the film grain, shall we say, instead. So yeah, so that pretty much happens now, and I reckon roughly like a third, maybe a half of the movie is when Silent Hill attacks. So I'm not having to change every shot. But also another thing I was doing is when I started making this film, I liked the old film effect. I liked the random hairs appearing in the dust. But I gotta admit now, the hairs look kind of funky. So I've been removing the hairs. Even on shots that I'm not taking the filter off, I have been adjusting the filter. It's an easy enough job, you know, go in, turn it off, then watch it back, then render it out. The problem is time. This all takes time. And another thing that's taking time is I got roughly an hour and 10 minutes into editing this film by using the only keying method that I knew, which is a very simple keying method, but it works well enough. The only problem was with this original keying method I was using, the hairlines on actors would be kind of, I suppose the best way is wavy. It's like they were alive. Even when the actor was standing still, their hair would be, the line around the hair would be waving. Here's a good example. Now, roughly 2 years into working on this film, I discovered a new keying method that removed the wobbly hair. So, like, here's a before, here's an after. Now again, it's not a difficult job to do, it's just time consuming. So I've had to go back through the first hour and 10 minutes of this movie, and I've been rekeying the actors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this in real time. So here's a shot, nice and simple shot, just an actor. Background's just pretty much one layer. Color presets on top. It's quite a simple shot. So we'll solo the actor, and we'll turn off the color presets that I use, and we'll reset key light. Okay, so then we double click, got in another window. We make sure that this window is set to mask. We then go to key light and we set it to this. Then holding down the Alt key and use the picker, I usually go, because I was doing this to fix the hair, I usually always go to where the hair is, and you keep moving it until you get pretty much solid white, like that. And there you go, that's our new key. So then we go down to combined, so that we make sure the white is proper white, and if there's any little other white bits outside of the actor, we bring the black up to remove those. Don't always have to do that, of course. And then we go down, rather than go to final, we go to here. And then to really help this, we add a key cleaner to really soften those edges, and then we add an advanced spill suppressor to pull the green. Sometimes the green will start to sort of like grow over the actor. It's based on the lighting and then the camera you're using, depending on what the what colors the camera can pick up. It's all based on numbers, and you know, it's a little over my head, I must admit. And then here we are. And then sometimes you might get a bit of a halo, so we sometimes add a little simple choker on there just to choke that halo out. And then we use the same color presets. We don't have to change anything in the background, and there we go. Now I could just render this straight, but it's always wise to watch it back first, because you never know if there's going to be glitches, because glitches can happen. So we're going to preview render this in real time. So how is everyone? So yeah, this takes time. So what I would normally do in this sort of instance is I'd usually, you know, open up the Silent Hill Lazarus script or the Talese script and, you know, do some work on them, or go to social media and, you know, make some posts, you know, communicate with the fan base if they've got in touch with me, you know, anything to just fill this time, because while this is happening I can't really do anything in terms of working on the film. I can't have this preview rendering and then say open up Premiere and start working on the film itself, because Adobe programs are very CPU intensive. So I mean, I can have, say, Firefox open in the background, or like Word or something, and that'll be alright, but anything bigger than that, and then the computer will just grind to a halt, thus making the preview render take even longer. So you've just got to sit back and just wait. You know, it'd be ideal if I had, say, like 2 computers. Then I could have this one doing this and I could be on the other one, but, you know, I'm as indie can be, that I'm basically transparent, so I don't have that kind of financial backup to do that sort of thing. And then you might be thinking, oh, this seems really slow, and why not get a better computer? This computer was the best part of $2,000 when we bought it, which was about 2 years ago. This is an i5 with 32 gigs of RAM, you know, with a 970 graphics card in it, so it's not a slow computer. I mean, the motherboard, thankfully, we can update to 64 gig of RAM and put an i7, but that's nearly 350 quid's worth of i7, and probably about, I don't know, somewhere between 50 to 100 pound for the RAM. Now that's kind of cheap, but that's more money than I've got, so I can only work with what I've got. So this is the reality. So, you know, when I say these things take time, you can see for yourself. And this is a simple shot, you know, this is just literally Olwyn, and there's just one background with a light ray effect that comes on every time the light goes past. Now that background is animated, it's just a texture going, you know, across, then reverting back and going across again, which I built in, I believe I built that in 3ds Max. And this is an incredibly simple shot for what can happen in this movie. I mean, also, because it's a very close-up shot, Keylight is only having to work on that tiny little bit in the corner there. That side, that's all Keylight is working on. Whereas, like, some of these shots have got 3 or 4 actors in, so that's three or four instances of Keylight. having to key out all of the green around them, and they weren't all filmed in set together. Some of these people would have been filmed days or weeks apart, so it's not just 3 people in a set and Keylight's just having to key that one green off all 3 of them. It's having to key 3 separate greens plus backgrounds. So the background could be anything from just a simple JPEG to a full-on 3D environment built using PNGs, because I need alpha channels to allow me to put the sky in the background, and there'll be particle engines on top of that generating the fog. You know, there might be optical flares in there for the lights. Then you've got the preset colors on top of that to give you this look. Then other layers like the dirty lens effect. There's a lot of stuff for, you know, After Effects to have to, you know, compute. So this one is going actually relatively fast in comparison to the speed some of these will go. And this is only 4 seconds. Some of these shots are 10 seconds, are 20 seconds long. So you could be looking at anywhere between, you know, 20 minutes to an hour just to preview it, to see that what I've done is correct. And then if it's not, then I've got to adjust it again and then wait another 20 or so minutes to watch it preview render again, because as soon as it's preview rendered, it's there and you can watch it. But if you then go, oh, I need to go in and just tweak that, that scrubs all of that preview render, so you have to preview render it again. So that's, like I said, it's another 20 minutes. Then you need to then render that shot out, and generally when you render it out to final, it usually goes at the same sort of pace as the preview render, but sometimes it can be longer. It's never been shorter. Sometimes with a shot like this, because there's not so much going on, if you preview render it and you're happy, then you go to actually render it out as an uncompressed AVI. After Effects will use the preview render as its render, and then it will render the shot super quick, so it'll be like a couple of seconds. But that only seems to happen when the shot is incredibly simple. The more complex the shot, the more computations After Effects got to do, and the longer everything takes. And still going. Still going. So this is what I mean. This is what I mean, but it's just time. Everything is so time consuming when you're making video. Okay, and there we go, it's preview rendered and we can watch it back and it looks great. So the next thing is to just render that out. Now rinse and repeat that for 1,000 shots. And also remember, this was a very simple shot. Some of these shots have multiple actors in the shot, so I've got to rekey all the actors, you know, so there are all these little extra bits that are going to make the render take longer. So some of these shots, full on particle engines, loads of actors in the shot, camera movements, camera shakes, motion blur stuff going on. That can take anywhere from 3 to 5 hours to render out that 15-second shot. See, what I try to do is I try to stack the shots, so I'll work all day on the shots and then render them out at night. But sometimes I'll get up the next morning and it's still rendering. So what's the ETA? I am up to an hour and 30 minutes of the film in terms of working back over the shots. All I need to do is sort the filter out on this next 30 minutes and then it's done, and then it's compiling. So for me, I should have ISOs ready to test this month. Then obviously testing the ISOs is probably going to have to happen in January, because I can obviously test the PAL ones here, but the NTSC ones I have to go to my friend over in Bury St Edmunds, and it's Christmas, so it's going to have to wait till January now. Once everything's tested, it's making the boxes, I've already got the designs ready, I just need to print them up, slap them together, off they go in a post. So I should be sending these things out at the start of next year. I want it to be January, and that's what I'm going to shoot for. But anyway, that's, you know, this is the problem. This is the problem I'm having. There's never enough time, you know, like Van Damme said in Time Cop. There's never enough time.
There's never enough time.
But one other thing I want to show you is, because once this is done, I am ready to compile these physical discs, because here is here's another project file, and here we have the making of Silent Hill Requiem. I'm going to play the intro for you here just so you can see. Did this little 3D office thing. I just tried to make it look fancy. And yeah, so this is the making of, and then there's also, I did a Q&A video where I've tried to answer what I think are going to be the more pressing questions from people once they've seen the film. Obviously I haven't answered every question I can think of, and I'm sure you'll have questions that I haven't answered, but you know, I'm always available. And then obviously we did a blooper reel as well. Now the blooper reel isn't as long as I would like, but there's a reason for that, in the sense of, you know, in a traditional studio, shall we say, you'll have your actor, you'll have your lighting person, your sound person, your camera person, the director, your assistant director, your gaffers, and anyone else there, you know, to be hands-on. In my studio, there's the actor, and then there's me, and I am the light person, the sound person, the camera person, the director, the assistant director, the gaffer, and anyone else that needs to be there. That's all me. So when it comes to capturing, shall we say, out of scene stuff, well, there was only one camera in the studio, and that was the camera that was filming the actors. So yeah, so because of that, there are some outtakes. It's not as long as I was kind of hoping it to be, but it's there nonetheless. And I've shown it to a few people, and they all seem to laugh when they watch it, so I guess, you know, it does the job. So yeah, so we're ready. I'm ready. I just need to get Requiem finished to then start building it. So I hope that explains why this thing seems to be taking forever. And I'll be honest, I need to get this done. I mean, not just so I can get it to you, but I need to start working on other things. You know, there are other projects that, you know, we're supposed to be filming more stuff next summer, and I need to get scripts finished, I need to do read-throughs, I need to get storyboards done. But here I am, sat, still working on Silent Hill Requiem. I mean, I love this film, don't get me wrong, but it needs to be done, and that's what I'm trying to do. Also, for people that are waiting on other things outside of the physical editions, here is an actual physical version of the exclusive poster that some of you donated for. This is how big it is, and I got one done up, so I wanted to see how well it would come out, and I'm really happy with the end result. This is the poster, because I want to do one of those sort of group posters, you know, the kind of Star Warsy, I guess, sort of group posters. So this is going to post them, and of course I'll sign that, obviously. Those of you that have also wanting the storyboards, well, here is the storyboards. As you can see, they're all in pencil. Now I am hoping that they will just scan as is, and then I'll just scan them, make them into a PDF, and then I will probably use my account on lulu.com to then just get them to make them into a book, and then I will just send them direct to you from Lulu, rather than getting them to send to me and then me to send to you. I just think it's going to be just far quicker and far simpler to have them ship it straight to you. I mean, I'll obviously get one sent to me to check that it looks good, and then they'll go to you that way. So what's probably going to happen is you'll get sort of like in stits and stats. You'll get your physical edition, then the post will turn up, then the storyboard will turn up. But this is just for those people that, you know, donated for those. Those of you who are just waiting on the DVD, well, once it's out, once it's out. Again, I put this in my last update, but I'm going to say it again. If you haven't recently contacted me since donating back when we started this, just to let me know what your current postal address is. And I just want to double, triple, quadruple check that I've got your details absolutely correct, because as I mentioned last time, I can only afford to send it once. So we all need to make sure we know where it's going, that it's going to the right place. Okay. Is there any news outside of this? Not really. You know, I'm still trying to get YouTube to give me back my monetization with streaming, but it's not, I'll be honest, it's not working. I'm not getting the views, and then if Article 13 goes through in the way that it wants to go through, all my streaming content and anything I put up about Silent Hill Requiem and Silent Hill Lazarus, it's going to get pulled off YouTube anyway. If you don't know what Article 13 is, just Google it. It's basically a new copyright law that the European Union have put through that's basically going to cripple YouTube for content creators in this part of the world. It's fine if it's your own original stuff, like obviously my short films that I've already got up there, like Bonnie and Clyde, Violet Rain, etc. They're fine because they're mine. I made them, they belong to me. But if I don't own the copyright, then it has to be pulled. So all my trailers and my clips for Silent Hill Requiem will go. You know, the opening 30 minutes will go. And then that also does leave us in some kind of weird limbo state, because Silent Hill Lazarus was going to be a web series on YouTube. But with Article 13 being the way it is, that's not going to happen. So Silent Hill Lazarus might just be something that only gets seen by the people that donate for it. You know, people that donate to help us make it. They'll be the only ones that get to see it, because I won't be able to put it out to the public. But there's talks, you know, people are all getting up in arms about Article 13, so you never know, it might not be as dread as I'm currently making it out, but there is a possibility that everything could be completely fucked. So we'll just cross that bridge when we get to it. Outside of that, just join me over on Twitch if you can. You know, I like playing video games and it's a good distraction for me, because I need a distraction now and again, because I pretty much work solidly every day of the week, as many hours as I can put into it, and you know, playing video games is just a way to unwind, and we all need to unwind. And I'd like to see you guys there, you know, I'd like to chat with you and all the rest of it, and watch me play video games really badly. Outside of that, like I said, I am working on the scripts for Silent Hill Lazarus and for Tlee. Splatterhouse is eager and ready to go, and that will start once Silent Hill Requiem is out of my hair. So that's the Christmas update. So before we go, I just need to say thank you so much to my current patrons over on Patreon: Andrew Key, Jason S. Perry, Sylvia Garcia, Christopher Bronor, Marius Joachim Orth, Jenny Newmanen, Amy Ballett, Everything Horror Podcast, Britt Cole, Tinker. You know, I am so grateful to my patrons. The additional money that they are putting into Zenithfilms is going to make, you know, filming everything next year so much easier. So if you ever wanted to get involved financially with Zenithfilms, look us up on Patreon, or even if you just want to buy us a coffee, we've got a Ko-fi page now. All the links are in the description below. You know, as always, I am just super grateful to all of your support, whether that be financial or otherwise. You know, helping me out on the streams, helping me out on the social media side. You know, one guy doing all this, it can get a little much sometimes, so I'm always appreciative of all the help people offer. And I shall leave it there. So I guess the last thing to say is have a great Christmas, and I will catch you soon. And as always, I wish you all the best.